After you've okay, so welcome. So come to a comfortable seat. So whether your legs are crossed or you extend your feet out or you prefer to kneel, whatever's going to be more comfortable. Allow your sit bones to connect down. And then if you start with your hands facing upwards, relaxing the shoulders. Start to lengthen up through the spine. So our focus today will be on hips and hamstrings, so the lower limbs, so working on Muladhara. So perhaps let your eyes relax or let your eyes close. So just coming into a sense of peace and quiet. And bring your awareness to your lower limbs. So my lower limbs are starting to relax here. My lower limbs are starting to relax. I start to be aware of my shoulders, so I allow my shoulders to relax away from my ears. I'm inviting in perhaps sensations while we're sat here. Sensations maybe running down the spine. Maybe feeling sensations in the tips of your fingers. And just be aware of your breath. Be aware of the incoming and the outgoing breath. So I have a reading for you. So if we think of the sacral chakra, Muladhara, so the lower limb, especially the sacral chakra, the hips and pelvis, we do store up quite a bit of emotional tension. If we've got kind of thoughts or feels and we don't really know what to do with them, they're generally stored around in the hips and pelvis into the lower back. So this reading is about worrying. Worrying is a waste of really good imagination. And if you believe in the power of your thoughts to create your future, then you are pretty much, quite literally, wishing for the worst outcome. So when the worries are careering around your head in chaotic disarray, line them up. First in line, what's actually yours to worry about and not forced upon you by social media, the news, and that stuff doesn't get a place in the line at all. Second in line, the things you can't do much about today, shelve them. They will wait until tomorrow, and you'll have more clarity by then too. Third in line, the things you cannot change, the mistakes you made, and the regrets you hoard. This part of your queue will wait in line eternally, in fact. If you can eject them out of your space hatch, then do it. They are neither use nor ornament to you. Worrying is a waste of really good imagination. Use yours for something far better. And let your arms relax down by your sides. And blink the eyes open. We'll take a few rounds of breath together. So reaching the arms up as you inhale. So drawing air into the nose, pressing through the palms, and then as you exhale, pressing into the lower part of your eyes, your palms. Inhale. Eyes slightly up. Exhale out through the nose, pressing the palms, forearms together. We'll do this twice more. Opening the lungs and emptying the lungs. And once more, in breath. And out breath. Beautiful. We'll just do some mobilizing before we pause. You're going to take the hands across to the right sides. Lift up through the spine, move through your chest, your collarbones are lifting up. Bring up space in your back body. And then eyes forwards, we switch the arms across to the left side. Sit yourself tall, relax the shoulders. Breath is constant in and out. Do this once more each side. So bring your arms across. Almost kind of feel the spine spiraling up. And then moving the arms across to the left side. And then eyes forwards. You can bring your feet forwards, leave a gap between the feet, bring your arms down by your side. Just wake up the hips a little here. So dropping the knees over to our right side and then look to the left. So we free up through the neck. And then move the head, move the knees, and then move everything to the left and then look to the right. And move head center, move knee center, and then coming across to the right hand side and looking to the left. So breathing all the way down to the lower limbs, coming to center, moving the knees and then looking in. Let's do that one more time. So head to center, moving the knees across, relax through the feet, looking to the left. And then moving to the center, then moving the knees to the left. And looking to the right. And then bring yourself to center. Okay, so we're going to start with a diamond pose or a variation of. If you want to prop yourself on like a little blanket or a cushion, just so you have to feel like they're in a comfortable place. If not, we want to pick up through the sit bones. Where your legs are extended, bring your feet, soles of feet together. Now we're not looking to go all the way in. You can go a little further in. So just do what's right for your hips and your knees here. So yeah, kind of pick everything up. So we're going to be here about 4 minutes, so slightly longer hold today. Alternatively, if you might have some blocks or props at home, depending on how many you have, of course. You could stack up a few blocks here, because we're going to lean forward, so let me explain. So we lean forward, a little bit high. We lean forward, you can kind of rest your head on the blocks. This is just an alternative too. So sometimes when you come forward, you feel a bit awkward, you feel uncomfortable. You're going to reach the arms out to the edges, or the edges of the mat or off the mat. So these are just suggestions. It might be here. When you come forwards, still kind of have a little move around. So just make sure everything's comfortable. Again, alternatively, we might place the bricks underneath the knees, and then you'll feel perhaps a little bit more restoring. So yeah, you could place a blanket or cushion under your feet. So yeah, you can make it really restorative. And then we'll let the head go. So have a little kind of move first. So you can kind of move in a half moon type shape. You can have a look left and right.
So just kind of ironing out any niggles that you've got here. And then allow your body to just kind of be immersed into stillness. So whatever that means to you, we still the mind, we still the body. Doesn't mean to say that when we're here, we do have a little bit of time to then move. So you might still need to have a little wiggle and a move. And also listen to the vibrations of self. The conscious self will then start to probably say this feels a bit uncomfortable. Sometimes the ego self says, no, I'm going to do this a little bit more. I'm going to try and force my way down. So let the ego self remove itself from the room. Because the ego self will want to try and make you go a little bit more. So we don't need that when we come to our yoga mat. We don't want an improvement on last week. That's just the ego self. Like I say, sometimes you might just need to a little bit of a move around. So although we're still, there is a little bit of room, maybe a little soft adjustment, soft movement. And then leaning forwards, you want to encourage or life energy to come into the back body as well. There's almost like a little distraction from the inner thighs, the pecs and pelvis. But distracting the mind away. So imagine the energy's coming down, legs, out through the soles of the feet. So anything that's not needed, breathe it out. So start connecting into your breath. And let the arms relax as well. So we've got around about 1 minute here. Letting the time just pass by. Relax into your thoughts, relax into your front and back body. Breathe out the discomfort. And you're shutting the eyes, so just short time here. Okay, bringing your awareness to your whole body. Start to walk your hands a little closer. And then coming up slowly, let your head be the last thing that comes up. And then if you just slide the knees in, stretch the legs out. In between, you might feel the need to take a little seated twist. So you can kind of move and guide yourself side to side. Or alternatively, we're going to do this in a second, we'll just pause in neutral spine.
So once you've had a little bit of freedom, I'm going to give your legs a shake. Then once you give your legs a shake, and just stillness, roll the shoulders, and just let your hands relax down on your side. So just kind of reset the spine, really leaning forwards. Breathing into the sensations of your hips and pelvis. So we'll come around onto hands and knees. We're going to come into a dragon lunge. So if you step your right foot forwards. Now, make as much padding as you need on your left knee or kind of move it. So where your knee was under your hip, just slide it back a little. I'm saying a little, you might move it back a little bit more, depending on how tight the hip flexors are. Equally, you can pad the foot and pad the knee. Now we are going to take this, so we're not going to move the foot actually, so there's different variations of dragging. We're going to bring the hands to the tops of the thighs. We inhale and then we want to sink the hips down. We want to allow the shoulders to relax. And then you just want to find your drishti. Well, your drishti will be ahead of you somewhere. It doesn't necessarily have to be the screen. You can kind of, gaze your eyes down, or you might find that if you close your eyes, it's really gonna kind of, link out whatever's going on in your room. We'll be here for 3 minutes. We allow the breath to flow. You might have your forearms here. So we don't want to kind of be too hugged over. We've just been in this forward position. So as long as we're fairly upright with the upper body, let the shoulders drop. And then let your mind drop down into your hips, hip flex. So this can be a little bit uncomfortable. Remember, your body, your choice. If 3 minutes feels too long for your body, come out. I would take maybe a child's pose or coming into tabletop and taking cat cow. You could take a down dog. So whatever your body needs here. So again, we're not trying too hard, we're not forcing, we're not bouncing. The alternative really would be to bring the hands down. So it's quite strong. So I would suggest you might think, actually, I'm going to come down for a little while. And then I'll regain and I'll come back up. So I can't tell you what's going to be right. Allow the breath to be soft. And just relax through the face. So we may be here, kind of tensing up into the hands. We might be kind of tensing up into the face. So with the energy down to hips. And relax through the glute muscles. Back the relax. You can do this with the toes to the back as well. So if you wanted to stretch the feet on another occasion, you could do it that way. Okay, so last few inhales and exhales. And then if you bring your hands down to the ground. And then we're going to push the hips back, slide the foot back. So we come back to tabletop. Before we move to the other side,
You bring your hands over to the right side and just move your knees over to the left. We're going to move into counterbalance. So we push the hips out, we're going round and circle. You push the hips out, forwards. So kind of, yeah, getting into the outer hip as well here. So we push out. And then you can kind of get a little sneaky shoulder stretching. So you could kind of pull away from the hands. Up. And circle. We'll move to the table. We'll step our left foot forwards. And then move your right knee accordingly, pad out the foot. Yeah, we don't need to move the foot out on this one. We want the knee relatively over the ankle, as long as you can see your toes, and then we'll climb away. So once you come up, remember it's not always where you need to land, so you can kind of shift. Press down into your front foot, and yeah, you might have touched your toes the first time round. If not, relax the feet. Relax the shoulders. Let the hips sink down. Put your energy in. Cascade down towards your hips, pelvis, lower limbs. So also feel this in the quad muscle. I'm going to leave the quads out today. So feel a nice release in the quads. You might feel it somewhere else. Maybe side out. Just letting your body just be. Like I say, if you need to bring the hands down, you can do it this way as well. So there's lots of different variations of dragon lunge. So yeah, so your body, your choice. So 3 minutes, it's not too long, but it's long enough when we're working on joint mobility, flexibility, and just kind of freedom in the lower limbs. And relax through the glutes, relax through the whole of that, the right side as well. Let the shoulders drop down away from your ears. Maybe for the last minute, you might want to close your eyes. So just feel into the sensations of your breath, your body. And also your mind is dropping down into your lower limbs. So feeling a sense of stillness, calm. So just the last few breaths here. And you just steady your hands down. Push your hips back and then slide your foot back. And then if you move your knees just slightly over to the right, move your hands over to the left hand side. And then we'll push the hips out and round. And again, if you pull over a little bit more, get that nice release in the upper back. And kind of moving through the hips. And also freeing up through the lower back.
Okay, come back to tabletop. So we're going to take a downward facing dog. We're going to be here around about a minute. The first phase of down dog, we will move just to get the legs kind of moving into the hamstrings, and then we will pause. Sorry. Nice firm base with the hands, so spread your fingers, press your palms. Now, when we come into down dog, when we tuck the toes under, we drawing away from the hands. So this should be so slightly different from plank where we're here, puts a bit of strain on the wrist. So we're drawing away from the hands. We lift the knees and then send your hips upwards. So we want this kind of, well, inverted V shape. And then before we pause, just connect to each side. So we connect to left and right and left. We keep the tailbone high, lifted. We lift the heel. You might even lift the toes when you press the heel down. You can do the same, yeah. So just kind of waking up Pada Bandha as well. So we'll do a few more movements and then we'll hold approximately for 1 minute. And then make sure you're drawing away from the hands. Your upper back, so we kind of wrap the triceps, the shoulder blades are squeezing together. And your ears are by your upper arms. So we don't want the head in, we want the head looking to the hands, we want it somewhere in between. Let's sigh out. So to a degree, we're drawing the belly in, so we strengthen through the core. So down dog is really core based. We bend the knees a little bit, so yeah. So if the hamstrings are kind of screaming at you, I'd bend the knees a little bit more. The goal is not to place your heels to the ground. We find stability through the whole body here. So we may be looking to tap off the nose, or we're looking to the back of the mat, or we may be looking towards the toes. Also strong through the upper back and the shoulders are squeezing together. Okay, so last few breaths here. And then bend your knees and then keep your head down. Bring yourself back to tabletop and relax the toes. You might want to tap the toes to the back. Back the feet into the mat. You might want to have a little kind of move around through the wrist, or you just want to make that first. Okay. We're going to come back around onto us. Actually, no. Jump the gun here. We're going to take the knees a little wider. So I'm going to offer out 2 variations. So we either take a wide knee child's pose. So either place some padding under the knee. You might want to bring something to the backs of your legs here. Now, instead of having the big toes closer together, leave a little gap. And we push back. So we're targeting area is inside thigh. Alternatively, we could take frog's pose. So frog's pose, I'm going to turn to you so it's more comfortable. So where the knees would be wider, the feet are quite touching, we would wiggle the knees out a little bit more and we flex the feet. So if you have a bolster or a blocks, you could use those for support. So let me show you both. So if you're here, your feet are flexed, and then you might place your forearms onto your props here. If you are taking that wide, show you again. So the knees are, yeah, shoulder distance a little bit more. You can go a little bit more. And the feet aren't touching together. Again, you could use any props. And you could take, yeah, you could take a little hug here. We're going to be here 3 minutes. So once you've kind of, yeah, chosen your props or not, you're going to focus forwards. Alternatively, you could, if you're coming into frog, you could place some cushions under your knees. So depending on your floor, really. Depending on your floor. So equally, moving the knees a little wider in child's pose is still going to target the inner thighs. And we're pushing the hips back. So in frog's pose, we draw the belly in, we push, we're trying to push the hips back. We're letting the mind settle. We're letting the breath flow. So just allow sensations, come and go. My knees are relaxed, my feet are relaxed, the body is relaxed as well. Maybe shutting the eyes down and just let your mind settle into your body. So we're dropping the mind down into the lower limbs. Just the last minute here. Let the out breaths be maybe slightly longer here. Breathing into that discomfort. And your out breath. Let go a little bit more. So the last few inhales and exhales here. Okay, if you took a frog's pose, you just need to wiggle the feet and knees in. And the same with your child's pose. So you kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Maybe make yourself come back around onto our seat. You might want to give the legs a shake here. So yeah, just take a few moments here. Okay, before we move on, do a pranayama in between. So just to give your lower limbs a little rest. So choosing a suitable seated position again. If you started in Sukhasana, switch the feet around. So we're just going to take about 5 rounds of pyramid breath or alternate nostril breathing. So use your right hand or your left hand. We count down the 3 fingers. We make the baby finger and the thumb available. There is other ways. You can use your index fingers this way to block. I'll show you both. So we're channeling the air into one side, we're channeling out, we're channeling in, we're channeling out. So it's bringing to conscious self and coming out. So take a long inhale, and then block the right nostril, and then take a long exhale out through the left nostril. Inflate, fill up the lungs, left nostril, and then lightly block. There'll be a second in between, so you retain the air, and then breathe out through your right nostril. You could use something this, so breathe into the right, lightly block, breathing out through the left side. Breathing into the left side, lightly block, and then let right hand come away. Or you stick with your alternative. So breathing into the right side, filling up. So really fill up your lungs, not forcing, but filling. And then breathing out through the left side. Breathing into the left side. Lightly block and pause. And then breathing out through the right side. Breathing into the right side. Lightly block. Breathing out through the left side. And one more cycle to finish. So breathing into the left side. And block. And then breathing out through the right side. And then you can release that. Breathing into both nostrils. And out through both nostrils. Feel a little congested. Need to go blow your nose or just wiggle your nose. Okay, so we're going to come back round onto hands and knees. So we're actually going to take a half split pose, although I said we're not going to do the splits. Step your right foot forwards. Use any props here. So a block, a book, cushion may come in handy. Let me show you what we'll do. So we're going to push the hips back. This is also so you could tuck the toes under the back. We're going to straighten out the right leg. If you can keep the feet in the downward position. If it doesn't feel kind, then obviously draw the toes back. We could use the blocks to support. We want to push the hips back. So we're not looking to come all the way back. We want to be in this half split position. You're going to feel it. So it's like a half diamond pose. Now, you could, with one hand resting on the block, you could reach forwards. You could reach forwards for that and call the toe. So I'll let you decide. If not, you can be here. It's all good. So we're going to be 3 minutes on this side. So feel free to pop off, and if you need to grab. You might just have that at the hand. So you just feel your gaze is to the top of your mat or just slightly ahead. Your spine is long. Not locking out through the legs, so back of, yeah, there should be a little bit of kind of softness here. So freeing into your hamstrings. Mind quiet and body absorbed into your stillness. Breathing all the way down, back your throat, all the way down your spine, and backs of your legs. Maybe let the head have a little yes, no, so it's, yeah, if you need it. And so we have a minute here still. Maybe this minute quietly, silently, just being with your breath. Maybe take a long conscious inhale. And maybe a long sighing conscious exhale. Okay, then bring your hands to the ground and slide. We'll take our circular counter pose again. So if you bring your right hands over to the right and your knees are slightly over to the left. And we'll move around in circles, so we're going different directions this time, so you can kind of move it out. Circle round. Again, embrace that upper back release as well, so if you're tensing up. So just kind of, yeah, go around one way, go around the other. Wonderful. And then if you bring yourself back to tabletop, and do a downward dog in between. We're just going to hold for a few breaths just to free the knees. So again, got the hands, spread fingers, press palms, tuck toes, lift your hips. Feel free to walk the dog out as well. And then notice left side, right side. Should be a bit more freedom. A little bit on the right side. Okay, and then if you bring the knees down, step your left foot forwards. Use whatever props you like on this side. It might be a different story on this side. So we push the hips back. You can say we're not aiming to go into the heels. Make sure your knees comfortable. If you can, just kind of sit the toes down if they're coming up, no problem. Soften the knee a little so we're not completely locking out. And then if it's doable, maybe reach your hand towards your foot. If that's not doable, then just place the hands where they are really comfortable. Lengthen. Yeah, so we kind of push the hips back. And shoulders are soft. And body is quiet. Drowning out the noise from every direction. So awareness is in mind, to breath, to body. And you're also going to find, we've probably found this already tonight, you've found a few sweet spots. You've found your edge, the edge of the movement, the edge of the body position. And once we've found that edge, that's when we need to start to get quiet. Getting quiet in our own comfortable or discomfort space. We have 1 minute here. Okay, so not too much longer here. Okay, behind your arms or your hand reaching your head, we walk them back. And slowly we slide. And left it back. And take a counter pose here. So bring your hands over to the left, knees over to the right a little. And we circle, we move into the back of the body, the hips, the pelvis. Okay, we're going to stay on our knees, but we're going to come up. So we're just going to take a little camel, just a little tiny one. So in camel, really we want the knees and the hips staying still, but we're moving through the mid-back. So it will be that the hips come forward, so we want to just stretch a little bit into the hip flex, but we don't want to kind of push everything forward and then we lose kind of that shape. So you bring the hands to the lower back. You could do this with the toes tucked or relaxed. You could take a little kind of toe squat, so you might want to adjust and move through your feet. If not, that's the feet are connected. So we roll the shoulders back and down. Let the shoulders drop down from the ears and then eyes up. Like I say, as long as you're not loading into your back, so sometimes we really push the hips forward. So there is an element of leaning back. When we lean back, you feel the thighs switch on through the belly in. If you wanted to take your hands down towards the heels, you could. You're going to be here for 5 reps. Let the eyes, the nose look up. We don't want to let the head fly back, so just keep the drishti upwards. So we exhale, 5, 4. So whatever your position is, you can do it 1 hand down, 1 hand up, or both hands on the lower back. So 3, 2. And then everyone position hands. And then we can bring everything down. Come back around into your seat. We have one more seated. So we're going to take the feet a little bit wider. So you just kind of gauge where you need to be. Some of them are a little bit wider than your shoulders. You might find it sitting on a cushion or rolling up a blanket, or you can use like a towel, just, yeah. So pick up and pick up, so your sit bones are grounding. So pick up any flesh, kind of draw it back. And then pick up through the hamstrings, even pick up through the calves. You may or may not want to use props here. If it's doable, you could reach the toes here. We lean forwards. If not, I would stack up some props here. Bring the hands forward. So you may be here. If you're leaning forwards, you could take this. You could take, if you bring the feet in, there's the key. You bring the feet in and then lean forwards. So you could be here, lean forwards, you could be here, lean forwards. So as long as we're targeting, we're going to feel this in the hamstrings and the thighs. Okay. If you choose not to do this one, you might lean forward, you might have a whole heap of props back up. You can relax through the hands. Put my legs aside, 2 minutes. 2 minutes of whatever you're going to be. You might be all the way down. So, yeah, pancake pose. So what is going to be doable? We draw the toes back, so yeah, a nice stretch in the backs of the legs. We let the time pass as well. We make room for adjustment. So if you're kind of there and you can go a little bit more, make those room, make that room. Yeah, when you lean forward, as soon as you lean forward, you're really switching on. So it's almost like we're pulling into the quad, or we're pulling the quads to release the hamstrings, and then we'll sort of sit. You have 1 minute here. You'll be pleased to hear. Switching on that breath. You might let the eyes shut down for the last kind of 30 seconds or so. Okay, so last few reps here. Okay, and then we're going to be your arms and hands up. You can use them to pick up the thighs, a little wiggle in. So wiggle the toes in, and assist, don't jump the feet together. Okay, and then you can support the backs of your legs all the way down, bring your knees to your chest. So you can cradle or bring hands underneath. Lift up your head and shoulders. Oh. Take a pause here. And then just before we come into a short reset, we bring the feet down. Just let the arms come out to the sides, or bend the elbows, or bring the hands to the back of your head. If you just wiggle the toes out just a teeny tiny bit wider than your shoulders, you can go a little bit more. As we did the seated, just let the knees fall from one side and to the other.
So freeing up any last little bit of space here. And then kind of let all that movement subside. You can either, because we've done quite a lot of hip work, I would suggest bringing your knees in and your toes out just to give the hips a nice little rest. If not, alternatively, we stretch the legs long, we bring the heels in and we let the toes, the feet just float out. You can relax your arms and by your sides. My suggestion is bring the hands towards the hips, pelvis, and palms down. You can make like a diamond shape here and let everything relax down. Soften through the eyes, relax through the lower limbs. So the lower limbs have done quite a lot of work today. So this is your chance for them to have a rest. Let your right leg be heavy into the mat or the right sole of your foot. Let the left leg be heavy on the mat and the left sole of the foot. Breathing down to the hips and pelvis. Breathing out any last little bit of energy or anything that is not required there. Relax your right side of your body and the left side of your body. And relax the hands, so whether you have your palms up or you have your hands around the sacral chakra. So we've given our lower limbs quite a lot of energy tonight. So make sure after this practice you rest, you put your feet up. And just giving thanks to our whole body. Allow your conscious mind to just scan your body through, from your feet all the way up your thighs, to your middle body, your shoulders, top of the shoulders, back of your head. And then just scanning your face, allow your face to relax and let the corners of your mouth just come up a little bit. Set your whole body feel happy and smiling. And you taking a conscious inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Retain the air. See if you can retain it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then take a long sigh, breath out. Start to wake up through your limbs, so you can wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Scrunch your shoulders to your ears and then relax down. You want to take a long stretch along the ground. So if your knees were together,
Just take the legs long, take a yawn, and take a big sigh. And then one by one, you can hug your knees to your chest. Massage your back into the floor perhaps. And then take a roll over to one side and then just pausing there. And then just take a few moments to blink the eyes. And then when you're ready, then we come and have a seat. However your body wants to sit. You might want to kneel for a change or just, prop yourself against the wall. And let the arms relax down. You can just give them a little shake. Just wake up the arms. And then take an in-breath. Bring enough energy down for the rest of your evening. And then exhale. Passing through your third eye, your lips, and your palm. Namaste, thank you. And hopefully your hips and hamstrings feel happy.